Hey, PharmaTalks subscribers! Today, we're diving into creating a master validation plan for the pharma industry. First, clearly define the scope of your validation activities, identifying systems and processes. Then, establish the validation approach, including methodologies and documentation. Next, create a detailed timeline and allocate resources to ensure a smooth process. Develop specific validation protocols for testing and verification. Finally, execute the protocols, document all results, and prepare the final report to confirm compliance and product safety. A Validation Master Plan, or VMP, is a strategic document that identifies the elements to be validated, outlines the approach for each element, specifies organizational responsibilities, and provides a strategy for maintaining validation documentation. It offers a holistic view of all validation activities within a specified period. The VMP includes information on items subject to validation, validation schedules, relevant standards, functional responsibilities, protocol preparation and execution, and general guidance for document format. It serves as a foundation for consistently validating critical processes, equipment, and systems. In the pharmaceutical industry, a validation master plan is crucial for ensuring the safety and purity of life-saving therapeutic products. It serves as the primary document demonstrating compliance with GMP guidelines and regulatory expectations. The plan applies to all new and existing drug compounds, registered drug products, and active pharmaceutical ingredients used for clinical use or sale. It must provide evidence that major changes, such as the receipt of new drug products, major processing changes, and the construction or alteration of manufacturing facilities, comply with regulatory requirements. Regulatory requirements for validation plans mandate that pharmaceutical companies provide evidence-based justifications demonstrating that their processes consistently produce products of the desired quality and safety. According to the FDA, process validation for drugs is mandated by law under Section 501(a)(2)(b) of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. This requires adherence to current good manufacturing practice, CGMP regulations, outlined in 21 CFR Parts 210 and 211. These regulations ensure that manufacturing processes are planned and monitored to consistently meet product quality standards, covering process validation, sampling, testing, and facility qualifications. A validation master plan is typically required before commissioning a new product, process, or system at a facility. It's also necessary when making significant changes to facilities, equipment, or processes that could affect product quality. A new validation master plan should be prepared for projects involving major changes to existing equipment and should be available before starting any validation activities. A risk-based approach should be used to determine the scope and extent of validation. While a VMP is not required for installing a single piece of equipment, both site-specific and project-specific plans may exist in some cases. The scope of a master validation plan should cover all elements that impact product quality, including systems, processes, equipment, and facilities. It applies to all new and existing drug compounds, as well as manufacturing processes for clinical use or sale. The plan should also include validation activities related to the receipt and establishment of new drug products, major processing changes, and the construction or alteration of manufacturing facilities. The responsibility for the master validation plan primarily lies with the validation manager at each site. They are responsible for preparing and overseeing all validation activities, including the master validation plan itself. Additionally, site management staff and the quality assurance function are involved in reviewing and approving the plan. The approval signatures are typically come from the site or manufacturing unit management team. When consultants or third-party contractors are involved, their work is still subject to the same scrutiny and approval process. A master validation plan is typically required when there are significant changes to facilities, equipment, or processes that could affect product quality. It's also necessary for projects involving major changes to existing equipment. The plan should be available before starting any validation activity, and a risk assessment should be used to determine the scope and extent of validation. In some cases, both a site-wide master validation plan and project-specific plans may be necessary. A master validation plan should contain a comprehensive overview of the validation activities. This includes a title page, a summary description of the project and scope, the validation policy and objectives, references to existing validation documentation, and a description of the organization and responsibilities. It should also outline the validation strategy for facilities, systems, materials, and personnel, including training. The plan should address process validation and cleaning validation, detail the documentation management system, describe the validation change management process, and include an indicative timeline. Finally, it should define clear acceptance criteria for the validation activities. After completing all validation activities, a report should be generated confirming their satisfactory completion. It's recommended to prepare a summary validation report or master validation report. This report should summarize the undertaken activities, present the overall conclusions, and provide references to any associated reports or follow-up actions. Any changes to a master validation plan after its initial issue should be agreed upon by the project steering committee. Once the activities described in the plan have started, the MVP should not be revised. Instead, any changes should be recorded in the project documents derived from the MVP and reported in the master validation report. Key takeaways about a master validation plan include that it's a strategic document outlining validation schedules, approaches, and activities. It ensures compliance with GMP guidelines, especially for life-saving medicines. The plan should cover new and existing products, major operational changes, and comply with FDA regulations. It follows a validation program lifecycle from development and design to retirement. Key elements include managing validation items and conducting risk assessments. The plan should also include a clear validation protocol outlining scope, objectives, and approach, ready for regulatory review.